Hi everyone, Jamie Humphries here for Six String Alliance, and today we are taking a look at the brand new Riptide pedal from Eventide. So today we see the release of the Riptide Riptide pedal by Eventide, and this is a really interesting and fun pedal. Basically, what this pedal is, it's a combined pedal. There are two different sides to this pedal. We have an overdrive and a vibe, a Uni-Vibe style modulation effect, and they are combined within one unit. Now, you can use each effect separately, so you can use the overdrive on its own, or you can use the vibe effect on its own, or you can combine them. As well as that, it is possible, a little switch on the top here, for you to change the order of the effects. So in other words, you can have the Uni-Vibe pre-overdrive or post-overdrive. So there's a lot of tonal options for you right there before digging too far into the pedal. Now, I've mentioned that this is an overdrive and a vibe effect, but also there are two alternative voicings which can be switched by pushing the little LED light there. So you have two different types of overdrive voicing. The green one, when you're switched onto the green one, that is like a classic overdrive with an exaggerated mid-range. I'm guessing that's sort of based on a tube screamer. Whilst if I press the little LED, now it goes red, that means that we are using the secondary voicing for the overdrive, which is a slightly smoother and more boosted overdrive. Moving over to the vibe side, the little switch there at the moment, it's green, or the little light is green. That means we are on the traditional Uni-Vibe setting. And if I push that in, we get a slightly more exaggerated phaser type effect. Now, this pedal is incredibly versatile. There's lots of other stuff going on under the hood. There are two different modes that you can run this pedal in. You can run it in perform, which is how I've got it set now, where I'm just enabled to engage either the overdrive side or the Uni-Vibe side. Obviously, if I wanted to change the voicing, I would have to bend down and push those little buttons. But we also have a preset mode. If I hold down the vibe button, now you can see that flashing. We have this, what's referred to as a preset ladder here. And it's possible for you to store 5 presets on the pedal. So I use this button, the vibe button, to scroll through the presets. And then I push the overdrive button, which engages the said preset. You can actually see that the little the swap button, the routing light has come on, which means that this particular effect, the overdrive, is prior to the modulation. Now, this is really cool because you can use this switch on the fly to change between the different presets and just hit the overdrive button to recall the said preset. And the preset will remember the combinations of effects, in other words, which direction the signal flow is going, whether it's going the overdrive first or whether it's going to the modulation first. You can save the different voicings. Obviously, you can save the different parameters as well. So it makes it a little bit more user-friendly in a live situation where you can utilize all of the different controls and store them within the pedal. Like I said, you've got this little preset ladder here, which enables you to save 5 onboard presets using the unit alone. But that's not all. This pedal has Midi capabilities via a USB. And if you are connecting it via Midi, then you can save up to 127 presets. That's a lot of presets. Now, there's some other interesting signal routing options going on as well. We have 3 jacks on the top here, actually 4 jacks, sorry. We have an input jack which can be selected between mono and stereo. I've got it on mono at the moment, so I'm just going in with my guitar cable, but I'm coming out both of the outputs in stereo, and I'm going into 2 amplifiers. Now, this is a really interesting application, which we'll discuss more momentarily. There's a little switch underneath the input jack which enables you to switch it to a stereo input. So you can use a Y cable to go in. Maybe, I don't know, you have some kind of router or something, or you're running it with some kind of modeler or profiler and you want to send out in stereo and come back in, or if you, I don't know, maybe you're using it in a studio application. So you can actually run into the unit in stereo with a Y cable, but you have to flick the little switch across. We've also got an in-out level switch as well, which will select between guitar or line level or effects loop level. Now, mentioning the stereo outputs of the Riptide. Now, when I was looking to set up for this demo, I was going to wheel the rack of doom in and use my Helix, and I was just going to go guitar into the pedal, out of the pedal in stereo and in. And it started getting I was a bit, how shall I route this? Do you know what? I'm going to bin that, and I'm just going to run 2 amps. Now, some of you might like running 2 amps. I quite often run 2 amps, but I don't normally run them into the front end. I normally use the send and return. I go into the input of 1 amp, and then I put my time-based effects in the send and return of 1 amp, and then the return of the other amp. So I'm only using the power stage of my second amp. But some people might be using combos. Now, the great thing about having this stereo output is that when the vibe isn't engaged, you're basically sending the same distorted or overdriven signal, should I say, to 2 amps, which makes this pedal incredibly unique. How many overdrive pedals do you know or own that have 2 outputs? So if you have 2 amplifiers, you might have them set up slightly differently, one a little bit lower end, or one a little bit brighter, a little bit more pushed. And you can literally plug your guitar in the pedal, come out, and plug straight into the front of the amps. When you hit the overdrive, that overdrive is going to come out of both amps, which I think is really unique and really cool. Now, obviously, if you do kick in the vibe side of things, then you're going to get lots of nice stereo swirly stuff going on between the 2 amplifiers. So some interesting options there, I think. An interesting slant, the fact that, you know, if you're like me, I like building gear, and I have a rig that some of you may have seen on the channel, and there's routers and buffers and splitters and all this kind of stuff. With the Riptide, you don't need that. You've just got a pedal, bang, out you go from the 2 outputs, and your overdrive is then both in both amplifiers. So I think that is really cool. Now, as I mentioned, yes, we do have Midi, so you can store up to 127 presets, but you can also recall all of the parameters via Midi. So you can do continuous control changes. So you could be using Midi expression pedals on, say, if you're using a modeler or something, to adjust any of the rotary controls, increasing the speed of the vibe, or pushing the boost and the tone of the volume, and also switching between the different voices as well as the different routing. So some other options that can be used. Just, if you're utilizing some kind of MIDI board or a multi-effects unit and you're integrating Riptide or looking to integrate Riptide into that setup. There's also a system setup where you can change the bypass mode. You can change how the expression pedal input works. You can even have like a MIDI to a stereo cable in. There's lots and lots of different options there. I don't want to bore you, but I've tried to digest as much. So there's quite a lot that you can do with the general kind of workings of the pedal within the setup, the system setup. But one thing that I found really interesting is a catch-up mode, which isn't engaged from out of the box. You have to engage that. Now, if you're using a preset, if you go to make a slight adjustment to the preset, the knob is potentially not going to be in the same position that it was when you stored the preset. So as you move it, you're going to get like a massive jump in whatever that parameter is. So when you've got the catch-up mode engaged, as you turn the control, it will not start to function until it reaches the point at which it was when the preset was saved. So I think that's Eventide is showing so much thought into the layout and the workings of the pedal. I think that is a really cool option. Now, I've mentioned the expression pedal the little input there. I rather embarrassingly discovered that I don't own an expression pedal. So I did a little bit of a hack. I've got an Ernie Ball volume pedal on the floor. I've got a little stereo Y cable adapter thing that splits off into two jacks into a single stereo jack. And then I've just gone from the input and the output of my Ernie Ball volume pedal into the stereo jack adapter on the back. And as you can see, as I'm pushing my volume pedal, you can see you're getting messages being sent in. You can see that the expression pedal is active and is doing something. Now, when it comes to setting up the expression pedal, it's really easy. Whatever sound you are on, whatever whether you're on the overdrive or the vibe or combinations of those, you literally put your volume pedal in the hill position, adjust the specific parameters and combinations of those parameters to the lowest point that you want them, push the volume pedal down, as I just did, and then turn them up to the maximum. So that's really cool for things like overdrive. If you're using one of the overdrives, you could have it so you've got like a slightly backed off overdrive sound that you're using for your rhythm. When you go to the lead, bang, you push your expression pedal down and you've got nice searing gain and sustain for your lead sound. So there's lots of options there. And I thought that was a pretty good hack. I'm probably thinking to myself that I've reinvented the wheel, and loads of you out there going, yeah, of course you can do that. I think the reason why I thought of it was I remember seeing Steve Morse with Ernie Ball Ernie Ball pedal, as expression pedal. So I thought, okay, it must work. So like I said, just a little a Y cable adapter, and then I've just come out of two longer cables plugged into that, and then just a single stereo jack into the input, and it works great. So let's get to some sounds. I'm hoping that the demo track at the beginning of this video, that was a little bit of an epic, that one. For those of you that are new to my channel, I like to do these productions. I like to take a pedal and see how it will work in my world. I'm really into recording and I'm really into music production. So I like to kind of, see how the pedal will work, see how it will perform and interact with other pieces of equipment that I use. That being said, I've had some comments in the past on other videos of people going, that sounds very processed and very, surgically worked on. And I make no bones about that. I say to people, I have done this to the sound. I wanted to see how it would work. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the green overdrive. Now, the way that I'm running my setup is that I'm coming out of the pedal and I'm running into two Mesa amps. I've gone for rectifiers. I wanted to use something in the ballpark of each other. Not saying that they are the same amp. They're definitely not. I'm using the onboard cab clone IR for the Badlander. And then I've got the mini rec there and I'm running into a standalone cab clone. And I'm using two different speaker IRs. I'm using the oversized Mesa IR and I'm using the regular one. So one sounds a little bit thicker, one sounds a little bit brighter. And I found that combination worked really well. And then I'm running into the UAD. Now going in, I'm just using a Neve preamp. And I've just rolled off. I've just got the low end rolled off slightly. I'm not EQing on the way in. Now, I was absolutely blown away by the rhythm guitar sound that I got with the green overdrive. I just double tracked it. That's all I did. I wanted to have that kind of thickness to the rhythm part, the main riff. All of the kind of Uni-Vibe parts and the modulation parts that you hear on the track are just straight in and panned. So you're just hearing one guitar. So you're getting to appreciate the spread that you get using the modulation. And on one of the solos there was some modulation. On the final solo I just went for the red overdrive, whilst the green overdrive was the kind of main overdrive for the rhythms. But I have to say, when I double tracked that guitar, that overdrive, just all the frequencies were just in the right place. It had this lovely thick low mid end, so it had weight, it had a nice top end to it. And I have to say, it's one of the best rhythm guitar sounds that I've ever recorded. It's massive sounding. So that's the way that I've got this set up. You can obviously run it into one amplifier, but I wanted to give you the option of hearing the stereo spread. So like I said, I'm using the two Mesas with the IRs, and I've got them panned, not hard left and hard right, but enough for you to get some spread with the modulation. And like I said, I did double track the rhythm guitar that had no modulation. So I basically took that pair, chuck one pair one side, one pair the other, and just balanced the level between the slightly brighter amp and the thicker amp. And that was the sound. It sounded great. So, yeah, it's a fantastic sounding overdrive. It really, really took me by surprise. Now, as I mentioned, hopefully the intro track gave you enough examples of different sounds, from very thick, dry overdrive sounds to the kind of slightly higher gain lead sounds, as well as different applications with the modulation, as well as having the modulation either pre or post overdrive. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of isolated tones. I always hate this bit of the videos, I must admit. That's why I do the tracks. Hopefully the tracks do the talking. But let's just take a look at some isolated tones. There's not too much for us to get through. You know, it's an overdrive and a vibe, basically. But as I said, it's the options of when you start really kind of deep diving, where you start to discover some slightly unique tones, especially when you place the modulation after the overdrive. So let's kick things off in preset mode so you can hear what you get when you unbox the pedal. So first of all, let's just have a listen to my clean tone. I'm using the clean channel on both of the amplifiers, and that's something as well that's quite unusual for me. I'm not really one for overdrive pedals. I normally go for a crunchy amp, and then we'll use an overdrive on the top just to kind of push it a little bit more, or a clean booster. But this pedal sounded so good. I did contemplate running the amp slightly crunchy and then adding the pedal, but the overdrives were just so good on the clean channel. So yeah, like I said, clean channel. Okay, let's kick the pedal in and listen to the first preset. Here we go. Push the expression pedal down. I did use the expression pedal during one section. I played a little overdub chord just at the start of the first guitar solo, and then pushed the pedal down, and gradually it brought in the effect. But not sure how well that translated in the recording. But let's push the expression pedal down. It's really cool. So you got a lot of control there just by depressing, pushing down and pulling back on the expression pedal. Let's now go to the next preset. We just push the vibe button and then select the preset. Let's have a listen. Okay, next preset. That's nice. It's kind of a little bit sort of Stevie Ray. Quite a lot of intensity there on the Uni-Vibe effect. You can really hear it pumping, and also you can see that little red switch is engaged, which means that the Uni-Vibe is after the overdrive. Really cool. Next preset. That's quite phasey sounding, that one, isn't it? pretty cool. Sounds nice. You know, the presets are good. Let's have a listen to the final one. Yeah, so there's the presets. Now, if you want to exit preset mode, you hold down the vibe button, and now we can turn the pedals on and off. Now, when you hold down that vibe button as well, you will start to see this flashing, and we can select a preset point, and then by holding down, I believe it's the little light over the drive, and that's how you save a preset. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's engage the overdrive. So let's put the gain, everything in the middle. I haven't got the catch-up mode on. So this is the green overdrive. It's really good. It's just there's something about that sound. Yeah, it's really, really thick. Okay, let's push the gain up. Even when you back it down, it's... and all the way up. Let's pull the tone control down. Quite bright. It's a really nice overdrive. That I think that has got a really that's got a lot of dynamics to it, I think, and that is an overdrive that I will gravitate towards. So let's now push down the little light there. Now we're on to the second voicing. This is a smoother overdrive, a little bit more boosted gain as well. You can hear that's a very different... I must admit, I do prefer the green one. I have to watch that, the brightness, the tone control a little bit. Let's go on the next single coil. It's a nice sounding overdrive. I don't know why, I just really like that one. It's just it sounds a little bit more organic, a little bit thicker, but two very usable overdrives. Just something that I want to show you, actually. Let's take the expression pedal. I won't be able to remember my name soon, but let's set that sort of there, maybe. Okay, let's now push the expression pedal down, and let's just crank it all the way up. Okay, turn it down. That's really good. That's really useful. So, such a dynamic pedal to have live. You know, if you one of those little splitters, if you've got a volume pedal, you can use it as an expression pedal and just be adjusting the amount of gain on the fly. Now let's take a look at the vibe. Going to turn that on. I'm on the green, the kind of traditional Uni-Vibe sound. We've got the vibe level, we've got the speed, and we've got the intensity. Let's just have a listen. As soon as I plug into a Uni-Vibe, I just want to... So if you're a Floyd fan, this is going to be Gilmour or Stevie Ray Vaughan in a box. I think the fun sort of starts to come when we engage the overdrive. Let's go with the green overdrive. Yeah, straight away. Wow. Yeah. There's your Dark Side of the Moon tone straight off. Let's take that same sound and let's change the order. You can hear it's not quite as pronounced, but it's got like a sizzly sort of... I must admit, I kind of prefer it post, but I did experiment and got quite an unusual lead tone by adding it afterwards. Let's change the voicing. So this should give us a little bit more of a sort of a phasery effect. Yeah, sounds like a phaser. You can have a very obviously wobbly. It's really nice, and obviously with the stereo, it's a lovely spread to it. And again, you can change the order. I think that one works better for me when you have it on the red setting. I think that's what I did. I was using the sort of phasery sound. It had a bit more. It sort of worked a little bit better to my ears, that is. Obviously, we looked at a Gilmour sound. I've just sort of dialed in a kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque sort of tone, using that the green overdrive and the green voicing for the Uni-Vibe. And again, it just sounds... Yeah, it's got that tone about it. Maybe increase the gain a bit. So lots of different sounds that you can make. Obviously, I've pulled out a couple of sort of stylistic tones there, referencing the Dark Side of the Moon Gilmour sound and a little bit of Stevie Ray Vaughan. But as you heard during the track at the beginning of this video, I was able to conjure up lots of different tones. So, yeah, my closing thoughts. I think it's a really fun pedal. I like the combination. I'm a big fan of Uni-Vibes. I have a proper big Uni-Vibe in my rack, and I have a Roto Vibe that I take out with me. And I can see that this being something that I would put on my pedal board, even just running it into one amp and not running it stereo. I think that the Uni-Vibe just sounds fantastic. And also, if I was using a modeling setup as well, I would be inclined to include this, because it's just, I like the kind of, what's the word that I'm looking at for the ergonomics, the way that the pedal is laid out. I'm more of a fan of dialing a pedal in as opposed to pushing presets and stuff. The stereo outputs, and also that green overdrive as well. So I think also I will probably gravitate towards that green overdrive as, let's use that sound. That really took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to get such a thick and meaty tone. So I really do think that this pedal's worth checking out. You know, 2 pedals in one. You've got 2 really usable overdrives. Like I said, the green one is the one that gets a massive thumbs up for me. Plus, we got the different voicings of the Uni-Vibe, from the classic Uni-Vibe to a phaser. You can change the order. It's stereo. It's got Midi expression pedal. So lots of features. So yeah, this pedal gets a massive thumbs up from me. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. And I'll look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye for now.